If you're a high achiever and can be really productive, but it hasn't taken you to where you want to be, this video is for you. I made a 21-day challenge where I challenged if productivity was more important than energy. So for 21 days, I challenged myself to be in a good energy and prioritize being in a good energy more than being productive. So the question is energy more important than productivity? Through this challenge, I would honestly say that energy is more important. And it also catapults you. When you are in a good energy, you actually become more productive in a very magical way because you do it in less hours. And I believe that it also improves the quality of your work. And when you first put yourself in a good energy through movement, through getting ready, through dancing or listening to good music and feeling good, you attract opportunity, and your videos are better or more magnetic, or the people you meet are more magnetized to you, and it opens up doors. And it's so fucking crazy to me because for the longest time through my whole life, I have been prioritizing productivity, never getting ready, putting myself together because I was like, I have to dig into my studying or work as soon as possible. But to be honest, when I think about it, it's not the smartest people who get the richest. It's not the smartest people or most hardworking people that, get promoted. It's always those idiots who are just like charming, or, they might be what I saw, like lazy, and they were just charming and in a good energy. And I was like, why the fuck did they get that promotion? They're not so smart. But this makes so much sense now that I've been in it, that what I learned in school is not necessarily what applies in real life. So this is the fucking lesson. Energy is more important. Energy is more important than productivity. I never thought that I would say that, but it fucking is. And during this challenge, it blows my mind because sometimes I feel like, the challenge didn't change me as much. But to be honest, I attracted opportunities that I haven't in years. During the challenge, I launched a business project with a friend of mine that is a dream project. We're creating an event in a way that I've just been dreaming about doing. And I'm doing it with a soul-aligned friend. We are such a fucking match, and it's been on my vision board this year to have this kind of collaboration. And somehow during the challenge, we were like, let's do this. It's gonna be fucking amazing. So that's one. Another thing is that somehow I managed to get into a closed door network without knowing a fucking soul. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time and vibing with the people. And they just invited me. It was like getting a free pass into a world that required a lot of it was a really rigid acceptance process. And I skipped the whole thing to be a part of that for that evening. And to me, that's just mind blowing. And I feel like, to be honest, prioritizing feeling good has made me feel better as a baseline. It has brought out more creativity and playfulness and business ideas. So I feel like that should be like being in a good energy should be the fucking baseline foundation that we all focus on before we take any action. I actually learned this from a Bob Proctor consultant, and they said that most people strive only to be in this good energy, but just being in a good energy is not enough to attract opportunity from the law of attraction. So what he said was that first you want to put yourself in a good energy where you have this creative flow, like the opposite to survival mode. So when you're in this good energy, from that space you take action in the direction of your dreams. When you take aligned action, that's when things are starting to happen. And I think that, when you are experimenting with energy, I feel like the whole planet feels so much more magical. And I believe, productivity has taken me nowhere. I do have a degree, but what the fuck? I feel so fucking tricked by the school system, and I'm so glad that I found another way of approaching life that is so much better, or feels so much better to live than just be hustle, 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 hustle. Now, during this challenge, I didn't just learn that energy was more important than productivity. I learned a whole lot of life-changing lessons, mindset shifts that will help you get closer to your dream, especially if you want to start your own business, but you're afraid of being seen or even starting. And here are my lessons from the challenge. And I've divided them into relationship with yourself, relationship with others, and business. So let's start with the relationship with you, and then the relationship with others, and then business, because they all build on each other. And I believe that you need each foundational step in order to build up to the business part. In the relationship to self, I realized that it's not just enough to be in a good energy, and I thought that being in a good energy meant, just having fun all the time. So it felt like I was almost in this teenage energy. I was just like, okay, how can I be this high vibe all the time? But I feel like that's not enough, and I needed some structure. So what I realized is that we need some container, almost like this masculine energy holding the feminine energy, so that we can be juicy. And the structure was to, the first thing in the morning, get exercise, get outside, especially if you work from home. And for me, it was not enough to go out in the evening. Be productive during the day and go out in the afternoon to dance or do something high vibe was not enough, because that put me in a lower mind state during the day. So first thing in the morning, go out, go for a walk or get movement in, and then get ready. That's another thing. Do not prioritize just going straight into work. Prioritize getting ready, because when you feel good, you do good. If you live in a free country, don't make yourself a prison keeper. Meaning that if you have a dream, if you want to live a life that is different from how you live, allow yourself to fucking take you there. Find a way to overcome the limiting beliefs and the fears, and take advantage of living in a free country. You can express yourself freely. You can choose the fucking life you want. And you will realize that all the things that are keeping you back, it's not external factors, it's actually you. And your fears, fears of being rejected, fears of being seen, and all that. So take advantage of living in a fucking free country. So when you try to take a step towards your dreams, don't be in the energy of excusing yourself, excusing your fucking existence. See your channel, see your social media as your corner of the internet where you are allowed to be in a juicy energy, where you are so fucking you in your authenticity. The people who come into your social media, it's like inviting them into your living room where you are you and you know what you stand for. If that's not a match for them, they will leave. But it's like they can just peek and open the door to see your whatever you are about. But in that space, you have to allow yourself to be you. So don't be in that nervous energy and be like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I just show up here, like, hope you like me. No, in your fucking home, in your living room, you are loved. You are already accepted. You give that to you. So you allow them, you invite them to your magical place. And if they come or not is not your business. The next lesson is that whatever you want to do, whatever you're trying to achieve or change in your life, give yourself 21 days of consistent action, because it takes scientifically 21 days to form a new habit. In this challenge, in the beginning, I think for the first week, the challenge for me was only to get fucking ready. To get ready, because that took so much energy. I wasn't even focusing on being so much in a good energy. It was just like getting into the habit of doing the things that would get me into a good energy. Also exercise is a good example. But give yourself, and also, posting on social media, post random shit. Just get things out. Do something for 21 days straight without evaluating if you love it or not. because you have to get into the habit of creating that thing. So don't be too hard on yourself during that process. Moving on to the lessons in relationships to others. And one of them is to surround yourself with people who support the journey, not just the results. And I also think that it's two parts to this. There is one part where you need, I think, to 90% of the time, surround yourself with people who lift you up during the process and who understand you, where you are a part of, where you feel normal, basically. But it's also a place to be able to go into other situations and be in other groups where they do not understand you and still be able to hold yourself and be misunderstood. It's, I feel like it's so important to be able to go into those rooms and be like, it's okay if you do not understand me, but this is what I'm all about. The second lesson is that people don't really see you. And what I mean by that is actually encouraging, because I met an acquaintance at the bus during the challenge, and before she saw me, I had blonde hair, and now I have brown hair. And I was so sure that she would be very focused on my new hair. But she did not even bring it up. And I don't think it was because she hated it, and I don't think it was because she loved it, or it had nothing to do with me. And I realized that, wow, people are more preoccupied with themselves and how they present themselves, because I believe that in their interaction, she was more focused on, she delivering or me being so focused on her. And I was probably I was focused on me as well. So she didn't even see my hair. Or maybe she did and didn't mention or whatever. But I just had this moment of like, maybe, the spotlight effect isn't that real. And it's the same with the people that you think will judge you for doing the thing or pursuing the thing or, being the thing. Maybe the worst case isn't that they judge you. Maybe they won't even care. Because I gathered up so much courage to tell my friends about, these social media pages that I have and this being a unicorn online. So I used to be an engineer, and my friends are also really highly educated. They are lawyers, they are economics, they are in that kind of education. So for me to tell them that I'm calling myself the unicorn cousin online and I spread the message of fuck the norm and live in alignment with fucking you, that felt so difficult to me. But when I did it, they were like, oh, cool. And then they changed the subject because they don't really care, because they don't really know anything, and they're not, I believe that normative people, they don't know the world I'm in, or with like business and entrepreneurship. And it's not that they don't care, it's just that they don't know enough, I think. Understanding that I'm not seen or judged necessarily by the normative world is actually really encouraging to me, because it gives me so much more freedom to be me. And the lessons I've learned around business in this challenge is that you just have to be 2 steps ahead of the person you're going to help. You do not have to be the perfect, best version, the fully maximized, fully knowledgeable person. You just have to be 2 steps ahead of the person you're helping. And I feel like that's so encouraging and takes away a lot of the imposter syndrome feelings. Another thing that I reflected upon is that, do you enjoy the process of making the thing? Because before you have results, before you have anyone engaging with your content, and before you have any customers, do you enjoy making the thing? For example, making a YouTube video like this is fun to me, regardless of how many people watch it. Can you find a business model where you actually feel that the process is enjoyable before you have the results? Because if you can, you've come a fucking long way. I feel like if you don't enjoy the process, you will quit sooner than later, or when you meet obstacles. A big lesson of mine is that time is more valuable than money. And I learned that the hard way when I launched a free offer for a group of people, and I did not make that offer valuable enough. And I was like, wow. So even if something is free doesn't mean that people will consume it or buy it or sign up. So it's so much more important to make sure that it's worth their time. It's worth their time in any fucking aspect. Is it worth taking your course? Is it worth doing your masterclass? Is it worth listening to a YouTube video like this? Is it worth your time? Another lesson that I learned is pretty obvious, but it really, clicked for me. And it's to make sure that your offer matches the audience. The person you're helping, you have to solve their problem. So yeah, I'm not going to go into it, but just make sure that it's a match. Another big lesson in business and also being in the content creation space is to fully detach yourself from the result, because you have to make sure that you feel worthy, you feel juicy, regardless of if anyone watches, regardless of if anyone buys. Because if you attach your worth to someone else's liking or someone else's, buying, you are so fragile, because they can either give you a boost of energy or they can take it away. So that you can either feel like shit or you'll be like super excited. But if you can be so fucking grounded in who you are and that you are worthy regardless of the result, you have come a really long way. So if you can learn to distinguish between your worth and your offer's worth, and like the worth of the YouTube video, you've come such a fucking long way. Because if people don't buy or watch whatever you created, it has to do with the thing. It has nothing to do with you. Ooh, another big mindset shift is that you're not trying to start a business. You're not trying to start a YouTube channel or your whatever. You are just in the beginning. And that is just amazing, because I feel like as long as you don't, or people don't have results, they feel like they need to say, oh, I'm trying to do this, you're not trying. You're in the fucking beginning and you know what you're doing. It might take time and you might need to learn some skills, but you can still be worthy in the start. You can still be holding yourself in your authenticity regardless of the fucking result. In your beginning of your journey, regardless of if it's starting a business or being a content creator, your only job is to show up and be consistent. It's the future you's responsibility to be the good one. And isn't that fucking liberating? Because I believe that if you take away the pressure and if your only responsibility is to fucking show up, be consistent, you can just play around much more. Because, I was so stuck in perfectionism for the longest time and it held me back. But this challenge has really brought me to like, fucking hell, I just have to put some random things out there. And through doing that, I've learned that, it wasn't that difficult and it didn't really harm me. And sure, those things didn't perform, but it really helped me to just be able to show up even if I don't think it's absolutely perfect. It's just like, okay, we just have this limited amount of time to come up with a title. Maybe that's 5 minutes, or, I have to go and I have to record a video because I had to do a video every day. So just be fucking consistent and show up. So now I challenge you that for 21 days, challenge yourself to be in a good energy and prioritize being in a good energy rather than grinding and being productive, and see what happens and then report back to me. Okay? Take care. Bye.